We are doing everything we can to make sure we're prepared for Hurricane Milton. But of course, then we're going to have to come together and work on the aftermath and the recovery process, which, as you know, given that we're doing that currently with Hurricane Helene, is it's a long, tedious process, and we're going to have quite a few difficult days ahead.
I wanted to ask you about it, right? The timing of it all. We just saw Hurricane Helene hit, impacting parts of Florida, and now we're waiting for Hurricane Milton before that actually makes landfall. There have been videos surfacing of what appear to be debris and, furniture destruction from Hurricane Helene, sort of out on the streets even. Some of the sidewalks in Florida. I know we're showing some video of North Carolina here, but could you talk to me about maybe the cleanup process or even the expedited cleanup process to make sure that you can pick up as much as possible so it doesn't become a potential very terrifying situation when you've got flying debris in the midst of a hurricane?
Yeah. Well, even before Hurricane Milton had sort of surfaced and we were monitoring things out in the Gulf and the Atlantic, the governor, under his leadership, was very clear. He wanted to clear the streets as quickly as possible. He wanted to assist with debris cleanup. And so as we started seeing over the weekend, Hurricane Milton, at that point a tropical storm formed, we were very clear. The governor created his executive order. And in that executive order, he specifically talked about debris, landfill sites, maintaining their operations 24/7 in advance of Milton, and ensuring that we would clear that debris, which creates additional risks and hazards that could serve as projectiles. And so we wanted to make sure that that was all cleared up. We have thus far, we have cleared over 22,000 cubic yards of debris. We are continuing to work. We have law enforcement involved. We have all sorts of resources and personnel assisting the local government, because, as you know, cleanup is their responsibility, but we recognize that they needed assistance from the state.
Let's get back to, if we can, the evacuation process. And for those folks that have been through hurricanes like this, a Cat 3 or greater, you may be familiar with how this works. Right now, and you can correct me on this, but Florida West Coast counties, those that are evacuating, it's estimated more than 1 million residents of Florida evacuating at this time. Tampa International, the airport, closed. You talk about 10 to 15 foot storm surge. That's not survivable. I'm curious to know, and just for preparation purposes, is the state considering any lane reversals in order to make the evacuation process more smooth? Has anything changed in terms of getting people out quickly?
Well, we're monitoring traffic, as you can imagine, in our emergency operations center, working with the locals, making sure we're working with law enforcement officers. We have opened up the emergency lanes, the side, to make sure that traffic continues to flow. I think that what we've seen is, obviously, when it got to a Category 5, I think people began to panic and wanted to evacuate at that moment. And what we're continuing to tell people is, don't get too wedded to the category, whether it's a 4 or a 5. We saw it downgrade. We may see it intensify again. What we want people to know is, if you are in that zone, if you are in a mandatory evacuation order, you should be leaving today. We are going to continue to provide law enforcement assistance, make sure that traffic continues to flow. A lot of people are concerned about fuel shortages. We have been very clear there is no fuel shortages in Florida at this time. We have more fuel in deck. We're amassing and making sure that fuel is being distributed to stations throughout the impacted areas, the potential impacted areas. So again, everything is functioning, and we're monitoring it, and we'll make decisions as the need arises.
There's been some reporting leading up today about Governor DeSantis refusing to take phone calls from Vice President Kamala Harris. He's describing it as her having no role in this, and that she's trying to politicize the storm. Where do you see this going, considering you've got Florida residents, of course, who have a variety of political viewpoints and just need assistance?
Well, the governor has said that, obviously hurricane preparedness, there is no time for politics. He has literally been working around the clock for the past 2 weeks. First with Helene, in advance of that, then through the recovery process, now in preparation for Milton. So he doesn't have time to play these political games that the vice president is playing. He has been focused on the job he needs to do, preparing Floridians for a major catastrophic storm. He has been in communication with the president and the FEMA administrator, the individuals that actually have a role to play in this. The vice president has no role to play in this. She is the one that has politicized it. She is the one that is playing games. And so we're going to continue to focus on Floridians, making sure they're prepared, and doing the things that we need to do to assist during this very difficult time.